So for those of you who haven't seen the dashboard before, let me explain it to you. It's designed to be very icon based, to be very intuitive to understand. It starts off by showing you how much you've reduced your carbon footprint from your benchmark, and because nobody knows what a ton of carbon looks like, then we've put that in the equivalent of cars that you've taken off the road each year. It also then shows you what you did last month versus what you've done this month. And again, we've structured the dashboard to be very intuitive. So green is good, red is bad. If you've gone down, this icon is green and smaller than this one. If your carbon footprint in the month has gone up, this one becomes bigger and is red. So again, very visually reinforcing the progress that you're making with your carbon reduction. The dashboard also reports intensity metrics. Intensity metrics are the amount of carbon that you emit per unit of activity in your business. These are important, one, because they form part of the formal reporting for businesses obligated to report under streamlined energy and carbon reporting, but also they're a very good way, if you're a growing business and your absolute carbon footprint is increasing, for you to measure and show that your per unit of activity carbon footprint is moving in the right direction. So in the background we track 9 carbon intensity metrics. You can select and report up to 3. You can do 1, 2 or 3. Simply select or deselect the ones that you want, and those will display on the dashboard. We track 9 intensity metrics per employee, per pupils. We do some work with schools, per unit of turnover, square metre of office space or production space, or per kilowatt hour of electricity and gas, road miles per car, or road miles of vans or HGVs. And again, you can look at those versus the benchmark or versus the previous period, and again you can display those in kilograms or tons of CO2 depending on which is right for your business. So intensity metrics are important because if you're a growing company and you are increasing your absolute carbon emissions, or because you're acquiring a company, your total emissions have gone up, your intensity metrics is a great way of measuring carbon efficiency. So even if you're growing, you can demonstrate that your emissions per employee are still going down because of the measures that you're taking. They're also a great way, if you're a multi-site company, to be able to benchmark different sites within your organization against not just how much they're emitting, but what their intensity emissions are per unit of activity in the business. We have some partners that are using the dashboard to support larger companies who are obligated to report under streamlined energy and carbon reporting. As part of that reporting, they are required to choose one metric that is appropriate to their organisation, entirely at their own discretion. And so we're finding that most users will find one of these intensity metrics the right one for them to use as part of their SECR reporting. The 2 main areas of emissions in companies are energy and transport. So we break those down so you can see how much your carbon emissions you have in each of those areas, and really where they're coming from and how you're progressing on reducing that. So the first one is total carbon in energy. It looks at what your total carbon is, how much you've reduced it down since the last period, and then it looks at where that is, how much of it is in electricity, how much of it in gas and steam if you have that in your business. And then it also allows you to track what percentage of your electricity and gas comes from certified green sources, which is a great way, if it's very low, for you to know that switching to green tariffs would be a good first step for you reducing your carbon emissions down. The next area we do is total carbon in business travel, and similar to the carbon in energy, it looks at the amount of carbon emissions produced by travel that is done for the delivery of goods and services in your business, how you've moved from the previous period, and then what percentage of your travel is done through green vehicles, hybrids or fully electric vehicles. You also have the option, even though the dashboard is icon based, is to represent each of the areas in graph form if that's more useful to the people that you're presenting the dashboard for.